Hello boys and girls, welcome to Murozond's Rise, which is another dungeon in Season 3 Mythic Plus in Dragonflight. In this short guide, we'll be going through the most important trash and boss mechanics that you're going to encounter in this dungeon. At the start, be aware of Tier Vanguard's Rendering Cleave. This is a frontal that does a stacking bleed on the targets it hits. At the same time, the Twilight Maguses are going to cast Corroding Valley that you cannot interrupt, so save a stun or a knock-up, because if it goes off, it does heavy damage to everybody in your party. They will also cast single target Epoch Bolt, interrupt as many of those as you can. The area before the first boss includes 3 mini-bosses that you have to kill in order to summon him. Valo will cast Temporal Strike, just brown swirlies that you need to move out from on the ground. And he'll also cast Titanic Bulwark, which is a huge shield on the ground. Move him out because everything inside takes 50% reduced damage, but keep in mind that this affects you, so you can actually go inside of the shield instead. The second mini-boss, Lyra, is going to throw an orb out that bounces back as a boomerang and returns to her. Make sure to dodge that because it not only does damage, but it stuns you as well. And then she'll keep radiating AoE damage that you have to heal through. The last mini-boss is called Spurlock. He's going to charge to a location, drop a Shrouding Sand circle there, and start channeling to one of your teammates. You cannot interrupt him from outside of the circle, so somebody needs to run in, interrupt him, and drag him back out. Once you kill all 3 mini-bosses, Tyr the Infinite Keeper spawns. This is the first boss fight in this dungeon. He's going to mark 2 people with Spark of Tyr, big yellow circles that you need to stand out from as everybody inside takes AoE damage. You'd like to dispel one and let the other one expire. In both occasions you're taking heavy AoE damage. Infinite Annihilation is a frontal that you need to dodge, and you want to bait it towards the edges of the arena because once it goes off, it leaves consecrated ground that damages you, and you want to keep the center of the arena empty. Titanic Blow is a tank buster that not only damages him but knocks him back as well, so make sure you don't get knocked off the edge of the arena because you'll die. It also leaves consecrated ground at place. And he also casts Dividing Strike, big circle that everybody or at least 2 people need to soak. If you fail to do so, he'll get permanent damage boost until the end of the fight. Once the boss reaches 0 energy, he starts channeling the pillar in the middle of the arena and gets a big shield. Orbs start spawning around the arena. You can collect them to get a stacking haste buff. Up to 5 stacks can give you 50% increased haste, but if you fail to do so, they increase his shield. Once the boss gets back to 100 energy, he goes back to phase 1 and the fight continues as before. Right after the boss you have to fight 2 mobs. Make sure to interrupt the Marauder's Karst and dodge the time curse swirlies on the ground. Be extra careful when both of the mobs start casting their AoE abilities. You need to stun or knock the Infinite Schism, because the other ability, Infinite Fury, is not interruptible at all. And if both of them go off at the same time, it's a lot of pain. Like, really, a lot of pain. And speaking about pain, once you kill these mobs, you have to go into a labyrinth where mobs are going to shoot frontals and orbs at you. If you get hit by anything, you get teleported back in the beginning. Luckily, only one of your teammates needs to make it through the maze, and there's an orb on the other end that you can channel for a few seconds and open a portal to the beginning that everybody else can take, but whoever came up with this design in M+, yeah. On the other side you have to fight 2 more big dragons. One of them has a frontal that you need to dodge, and the other one has the good old Infinite Fury, which does AoE damage that you need to heal through. The following area is filled with sand, and you need to clear a path to the portals on the left and on the right by killing the small mobs. Once they die, they clear a patch in the sand. There are bigger mobs called Infinite Rift Mages. Make sure to interrupt as many of their spells as you can, and the temporal anomalies are going to put a debuff on your tank that spreads to another target. Make sure to dispel the secondary target and heal through the debuff on the tank. If you go to the Morchie side of the dungeon, you have to find Infinite Time Bender, which summons few ads around him. Nothing interesting here. He has a cast that you need to interrupt and a channel that you need to stun. The ads around him are going to cast Fishbolt Volley, which is AoE that you also need to interrupt, and there's swirlies on the ground, bleeds on your tank, and even a bonk that slows them down. As far as Morchie goes, she's going to cast Sandblast, which is a frontal that you need to dodge, and then she's going to cast More Problems. She creates duplicate copies of herself around the room, but only one of them is the real one. All the fake copies have some kind of a hat on top of their heads, while the real one doesn't have one, so you're looking for the blue hair. You want to get behind the real one as quickly as possible, because in a few seconds the fake ones disappear and the real one casts a big frontal in front of her. Keep in mind that on the live servers the hats are a lot bigger and easier to see, as this is an old footage from the PTR. Next, the boss is going to summon sand traps around the platform. Don't get caught inside of them because you'll be immobilized for 30 seconds. Instead, when Morchie casts familiar faces, she's going to summon ads that are going to fixate and start chasing you. You want to kite these ads in the traps instead, and be aware that once they hit the traps, they do heavy AoE damage to everybody in your party. So, if you can, stagger the trapping because every member of your party gets a fixate ad on top of them. Keep in mind that the next time she casts familiar faces, the ad is going to start chasing you from the point where you trapped it previously. So position yourself accordingly and keep your distance. Back through the portal in the main room, you have to find another infinite time bender, which this time summons different ads. They have Rocket Bolt Volley, AoE that you need to interrupt, and a pretty cool frontal called Electro-Juiced Gigablast. Dodge all of that and be careful once one of the mobs starts flying and shooting firebolts in the ground, dodge those as well. Just before the next boss, there's flying elemental mobs. If you pull them, make sure to interrupt their time beams and dodge the swirlies on the ground. To summon the next boss, you have to kill a big tank which is going to cast volatile mortars. Lots of red swirlies on the ground, make sure to dodge those. And then he's also going to spawn some goblins that will start to chase you and try to explode on top of you. Make sure to slow them down, CC them, stun them, whatever you can do to keep your distance. The boss is going to Mortal Strike your tank, reducing the healing that he takes, and then he's going to start casting frontal shockwaves. Obviously you want to keep dodging all of these. He also has Blade Storm spinning violently around, make sure you're not in the spinning radius because he does a lot of damage. And then he's also going to cast For the Horde or For the Alliance, summoning 3 additional ads that you have to handle. Interrupt the caster and along with the melee mob, drag it on top of the archer. Cleave them down with the boss and keep in mind that you need to spare some stuns for the archer because he casts serrated arrows which leave bleeds on people that are targeted. The boss occasionally does instant cast Battle Cry which does heavy AoE damage to everybody around, so make sure to keep people topped off. All these mechanics will keep repeating themselves, including the summon of the ads, until the boss is dead. Before the last boss you have to fight a rather nasty pack with 2 Marauders and an Infinite Slayer. Interrupt the Marauders and stun their Infinite Schism, which is AoE ability, which will easily wipe you in combination with the Infinite Fury of the Slayer, and dodge his frontal along with the swirlies on the ground. Chronoloord Deus is the last boss, and his main mechanic that you're going to see throughout the fight is summoning Infinity Orbs. 2 of them are going to start falling from the sky and you want to soak one of them and let the other hit the ground. Once that happens, everybody takes ticking damage for a few seconds, but if you let both of them hit the ground at the same time, the debuff dot stacks and does increase damage, so definitely don't let this happen. The boss also has a frontal, so make sure you're not standing behind your tank. And the boss will also summon Keepers, which start calling reinforcements from nearby portal every 10 seconds. Prio focus and DPS down the Keepers to close the portals, and once you kill them, the boss takes 20% damage. After the boss summons few Keepers, he starts flying in the air and you have to kill the remaining Keepers to bring his health down to 20% so he lands back down. The Infinity Orbs will keep happening, but now you have to dodge swirlies on the ground which leave sand puddles behind. That could make the soaking of the Infinity Orbs quite hard, so be prepared to kite the boss in a circle around the room as you get less and less space available. Keep doing the mechanics, at some point you're gonna get few dragons that are gonna come and help you to get the boss down to 0% and finish the dungeon. That's it for Murozond's Rise. This dungeon was quite overtuned on the PTR, hopefully it's in a much better state once it comes to the live servers. And if you want to see the rest of the Mythic Plus dungeon guides for Season 3 in Dragonflight, you can check my YouTube channel, which has all of them available. Let me know what you think about them in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care, and wherever you are, be there.